questions about the Netherlands. Van Gogh, tulips, orange football team, legal marijuana of course, and Amsterdam's red light city district. Such are the modern cliches about the Netherlands, at least in Ukraine, so I felt obliged to refresh my school knowledge of the Dutch history, and I found it really amazing. Brave sailors who pushed the boundaries and discovered new lands, pioneers of human rights, democracy, tolerance, far ahead of their time, and talented merchants traded with the whole world and made the land one of the most prosperous European states of all times. And actually the word trade appeared so frequently that I started to wonder what should have happened that the trade nation is going to abandon just another trade agreement. I guess something very, very serious.
Hello everybody. On April 6th, a referendum is to be held in the Netherlands. The Dutch people will be questioned whether they want to approve the recently signed Association Agreement between the EU and Ukraine. The opinions, as it often happens, divided. We are a group of Ukrainians living in Ukraine and abroad, communicating through Facebook, who care about the fate of our homeland. And we are willing to dispel some of the Dutch fears. We will also talk about Ukrainian fears and hopes.
Так нельзя!
Very often, looking at their wealthy and free Western European neighbors, Ukrainians feel as, let's say, the second-class citizens. This feeling stems from the years of totalitarian ideology and the Soviet legacy. In the Soviet Union, there was just one dominant ethnicity, and this ethnicity was the Russians. Same goes for the language. There was just one dominant language, the Russian. All the other ethnic groups and ethnic minorities were regarded and viewed as dependent, clumsy younger brothers and sisters. Nowadays, we no longer want to be associated with Russia, not until Russia changes, at least politically. At the same time, we want to be associated with Europe and with European values, with freedom, democracy, political pluralism, transparency, and so on. The Association Agreement is an excellent start and excellent continuation for the Ukrainian endeavors. Will Ukraine be able to be a part of the European community? Well, it takes a lot of time, a lot of determination, and a lot of strength, and political will, of course. But it is still our ultimate goal and our dream. It is the Ukrainian dream. The Association Agreement can be a great litmus test for the Ukrainian dream. Shall we be afraid of our dreams?
Stand for Ukraine!
One of the major concerns of the Dutch voters is that several large agricultural companies are present in Ukraine. These companies use genetically modified crops and treat them with herbicides and fertilizers, which might present a threat to public health. For me, as a chemist, it's quite a controversial discussion with patient and confident scientists who know what they are doing on the one side, and GMO and Roundup frighten the crowd on the other, but let it be. Yet another concern is that Shell and Ukraine have signed a new contract for the shale gas. I know little about the state of ecological movement in Ukraine, so I asked my friend Andriy Mashastry to tell his opinion on this topic. And here's what he said. Monsanto, Syngenta, Shell and the others are the only Ukrainian problem? No, they are the global problem.
Are wars, infectious diseases only Ukrainian problems? No, they are the global problems. Are chicken factories and animal rights only Ukrainian problem? No, they are a global problem. Today, no single country in the world is really protected from global problems. No one, even in the developed countries, can feel really secure in front of terrorist attacks, aggression of neighbors, or diseases such as the Zika virus. Citizens of Ukraine have made their choice 2 years ago and stepped on the way of democratic development. We are solving our internal problems, and we are ready to participate in solving global problems. I must state that Andrei is a real eco-enthusiast. Last summer he was spending his vacation in Carpathian Mountains in the west of Ukraine, a beautiful place though lacking modern infrastructure. So here and there one can find plastic garbage left by unconscious tourists. Andrei couldn't stand this. He with his friends gathered as much garbage as they could and brought it back to Kiev, which is for a moment more than 600 kilometers by train. And Andrei is not the only one. There are a lot of people in Ukraine who really care about ecology, and most importantly, they're doing their best to protect Ukrainian nature. The Association Agreement will bring more regulation into the ecological sphere and will help these people, will give them more enthusiasm into what they are doing.
Sam Fons!
Nightmares and disaster of Second World War had changed our mind, and among the other they brought a hope for those who survive, a hope for a new Europe, without wars and totalitarianism, founded on collaboration between nations, focused on personal and social developments. Western Europeans worked hard on their dream and you achieved it by the end of the last century. In the east of Europe, similar processes were taking place, but Soviet totalitarian system was unable to provide an enduring foundation for this endeavor. It resulted in a natural collapse of Soviet Union. Many turned their heads to the West. Actually, we were always looking at the West, waiting to become better. But totalitarian system, instead of making a good better, achieved the better by worsening the good. As a result, a lot of what was good was by interior claim bad, and this led to a depression and indifference. A perfect soil for growing corruption, a different kind of aphorism. Being one of the largest and the richest post-Soviet state, Ukraine has one of the biggest levels of corruption. Today we have a chance to change the situation. This is a very long and hard process, but with your help we could make it shorter. So please support Ukraine.
Wir sind die junge Generation der Ukraine, die ihre Heimat liebt, und wir kümmern uns um ihre Zukunft. Wir wollen unsere Kenntnisse vertiefen und unsere Erfahrungen, sowohl theoretischen wie auch praktischen, austauschen. Wir wollen andere Kulturen kennenlernen und unsere alte und reiche präsentieren.
Today, up to 5 million of Ukrainians, which is about 10% of Ukrainian population, are permanently living or seasonally working in the EU countries, mainly in Poland, Czech Republic, Italy, and Portugal. These people had found their way into the EU long before the negotiations about the Association Agreement started. And as the association doesn't suppose any easement of immigration or preferences for Ukrainian migrants, there is no reason to expect any significant increase of immigration from Ukraine after signing the agreement. On the contrary, the economical benefits from the association with Europe will gradually decrease the immigration rate or even attract foreign Ukrainians to come back home. Of course, the modern, highly dynamic world is hardly imaginable without migration. The association agreements will lead to strengthening of professional ties, opinion exchange, and personal connections. It will undoubtedly increase short-term migration in both directions. The EU citizens will come to Ukraine to make business, participate in common projects, or just spend their vacation somewhere in the Carpathian Mountains. Ukrainians will come to the EU to study, participate in professional training programs, or do internships in the European companies. The association agreement is only a framework. It opens many possibilities for cultural, business, and personal inter-exchange.
Ukraine is a wonderful European country. The geographical center of Europe is not far from our native town. It's a country of beautiful landscapes and tourist attractions. So we would like to take the borders away and make our country a favorite place for many visitors.
To my dear anonymous Dutch friend. 5 years ago I would not believe that I would see war during my lifetime. And 2 years ago we had those revolution because Yanukovych cancelled pro-European movement. And I wanted that pro-European movement because that would mean European standards in government, and that would help fight corruption, including corruption of Yanukovych. Now he fled to Russia, and we have a war on eastern Ukraine with Russia. You know that because there are Russian troops, and know that because you surely know who has taken MH17 down. Now, I want this pro-European integration again because of the standards, because that would imply how the governance is made in Ukraine, and that will help us structure the country, will help fight corruption, will help fight Russians on East, and bring in justice. Thank you.
Today we are fighting not only for our state, but also for peace and dignity, not only in Europe, but also in all over the world. So join us in our struggle against evil.
To get a chance to build our own independent, highly developed country based on the general European values.
Beautiful Ukrainian land, hard-working people, the original history and unique culture will become an amazing discovery for Ukraine.
Give a chance to Ukraine!
We realize that the referendum is not only about the Association Agreement with Ukraine, it's also about Europe and its future. People are tired and demotivated by recent economical crisis, influx of migrants, and terrorist attack. Euroscepticism and right populism are growing, and they shift and say that the European Union was a bad idea, that a meal in the restaurant was cheaper to be paid with guldens than with euro, when every European nation was on its own. They know what they say, divide and rule. In 2013, Ukrainians took their future into their own hands. We casted out our corrupted president, Mr. Yanukovych, but for our greatest sorrow, not without violence. It was our price to pay for years of ignorance and indifference over the years of our independence. We hope that you won't ignore this referendum and come to claim your democratic rights. Of course, we hope that you will say yes to Ukraine, but we will thank you regardless of your choice.
Together we are strong, and only together we can make this world better.